Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a cool review for you from a new brand to the channel called RSM Straps. Now, a little bit about them. They're essentially a group of architects and designers who love fabric straps and really can't get enough of them. Now, this particular product, to highlight it, this is the Herringbone Twill Strap, and it's inspired by the historical M1941 HBT uniform issued to soldiers during World War II. Now, that herringbone twill weave pattern was pretty much introduced as the first rip preventative fabric for uniforms. So essentially it was really there for that strength, and with the multi-directional pattern there with the stitching, it made it harder for something to go along with the stitch and rip all the way through. So I think that's actually pretty ingenious and ends up looking really, really cool. Of course, it's a bit thicker, as you might expect, but I think it really pairs well with kind of the robustness of tool watches that it would be paired with. And of course, I have this paired with my Longines COSD. Also a military kind of heritage background from that standpoint. Now, these straps, you know, they're not super expensive. They're not super cheap. They're, I'd say, right in the middle. They're about $45 each. There's a couple of different color options that we'll cover today, and we'll jump into this. But with that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look. Okay, so now as far as the packaging, these actually do come in essentially this cool little kind of construction paper envelope, and then they are on an actual little card here, and this is the brown model, and as you can see, it essentially gives you just a nice little message, and as well as gives you some more information about the straps themselves. So really interesting packaging from that standpoint, which I thought was really, really nice. Now, as far as the straps themselves, wow. As you can see, this particular one is the olive drab. This brown is known as the tobacco brown. This blue is known as Icarus blue, and then the gray is field gray, which I think is quite appropriate. Now look at the stitching on this. This thing, I mean, just puts on a little light show, right? Like, look at the highs and lows and the contrasting. It almost reminds me of scales, like on a dragon. So really, really cool, especially in this green color. So really beautiful color play on that. And then when you take a look at the hardware, very solid, nice milled, and it actually has two-tone hardware, which is really a nice touch as far as kind of being on more of the luxury side. You're gonna have brushed on top, of course, and then polished on the sides. Let me actually give that a quick wipe for you guys off camera so you guys can kind of get an idea of really just how finely done these are. So really high polished, nicely done. Everything's very, very solid. So that's the green, really beautiful dark green color here. They have this blue, which I think is a really nice balance. It does have a couple hints of purple, I would say, into the color, but I love that it's dark because of the way that the light plays off of it. Because if the base color was a brighter blue, it would just be super, super bright when the light hits it. Here, the light hits it and it's still a very nice dark, deep blue. And then the shadows in between you can see are almost black. So you get that kind of midnight blue vibe to it. So really, really beautiful. As you can see, some close-ups on the holes. Very nicely finished here. Everything is nice and heat sealed. Really great. Of course, I think the holes up close, there's going to be a little bit of, you know, where you can tell where the heat kind of hit them. So it's not perfectly smooth, but it obviously, the more of that kind of finish you have on here, by feeling that, it just means that, of course, it's solid because it was burned and sealed. So that's kind of what you want to feel there, especially in something with a pattern as intricate as this here. You would expect there to be some lift and some raising happening when it comes to the sealed holes. If you guys want to get a really close look there, really beautiful, beautiful material. I'm really impressed by this. I think these dark colors really make this material really pop. The crazy thing is I love gray, of course. This is a brighter gray, and it actually, as you can see, it almost feels more flat because of how bright it is. The pattern itself is almost a lower contrast because of the color is so much brighter. Another example to compare and contrast is the brown, where you can see the lows are very low in the shadows and the low light, but then the reflections and the highlights definitely pop much nicer. Well, actually on the brown, it looks like it actually, oh, there we go, the light's catching it now. It's not quite, as I almost would say, metallic-y feeling as the blue and the green. Those ones almost have a metallic sheen to them. This one has a very nice shine to it. It's just the dark areas, I guess you could say. This just catches light a little bit better. So it's not going to have those kind of deep shadows like you'd see on the blue. But I'm really, really loving it. Of course, I think really aptly named the Field Gray on this great Longines. And this, of course, this watch was made to go on a NATO. So this is pretty thick, guys. As far as the sizes that are available, you can either get them in 20 or 22. All these here pictured are in the 20 millimeter width. But as far as length goes, they're actually adjustable, and you can be adjusted to fit and accommodate anywhere from a 6-inch wrist all the way up to 8.5. Now, as far as the thickness goes, depending on which one you get, so this is a 20 millimeter, which means the thickness is 1.5 millimeters thick. Now, if you get the 22, it's going to be a bit thicker at 1.6 millimeters thick. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But man, just the texture here on this strap is just really, really just so eye-catching. It's tough for me to look down and look at my notes because of how eye-catching this strap actually is. Now, of course, we already talked about the packaging, so let's go ahead and, get this on wrist here. So as you can see, what I'll do is I'll demo the installation for you. Go actually one more tighter there, and then it goes, there's a space there on the buckle, goes down, goes through, and of course you do have a sliding keeper, so if I did want to play with the length a little bit more, extend it so I'd have some tongue to fold over or shorten it, the nice thing is I can actually adjust this so I could catch some of that tongue that's folding back down, or I can just butt it up right here. For me, I'll probably just kind of break the space in half there. And I gotta say, wow, look at this thing on wrist. Let me scoot these guys. But as you can see on my 7¼ inch wrist, this thing just looks really wonderful. Look at the way the light plays off of that strap, the sheen, the shimmer to it. You can see you got the dark, low lights, and then you have the nice highlight there on top. Really great contrast. Almost feels like a mesh as far as visually, but like, more of a gunmetal color versus like a bright steel. But that's really nice. And then when you get up close to it and you can really see the pattern, you can tell that it's a fabric. The thicker look, it almost has kind of that pearl-on look. It actually is quite reminiscent of the chevron straps from Crown and Buckle, but this is actually quite thicker. And I think, takes it more on the rugged end versus the refined side. This to me really is more suiting of a tool watch and really has that kind of vintage vibe to it. Let me wipe some of the smudging off of this real quick here. A little sweaty in the studio today with the lights on. So I'd say closing thoughts, you're definitely getting premium quality. There's a great balance of kind of that rugged yet refined, and just this texture is just awesome, guys. Look at that. And it's really simple. The nice thing, although it's thicker, it's single pass. So it's not going to add too much height. And if anything, when you do get a little bit of height, you do get also a little bit more articulation because the watch sits off of your wrist a little bit more. And of course, I do like to wear my watches a little bit lower on the wrist, closer to the hand versus on the other side of the wrist bone. or you know, some, it seems like previous generations people like to wear them a lot higher on the wrist. For me personally, I like to have it loose enough to where I can actually just have a little bit more articulation, because this isn't going to move anywhere, although it's not cinched down super tight. So really loving the look of these ones, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like the video, please definitely do hit like. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Big shout out to RMS. This is a really cool kind of initial offering for these guys. I'm very impressed with these straps. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like, and if you haven't, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.